I don't think I've ever seen something like this before. 2 years ago, we were discussing how adorable the NBA has become. It's no longer the era of super teams, we said. It's all about the duos, Michael Conley and Donovan Mitchell, because Mike Conley just joined Utah, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Hell, Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. Remember that time we were so excited about how even the entire NBA was going to become? Man, what a good time. Because, of course, Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal became a brand new tandem. John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins briefly became a tandem. Now it's John Wall and Victor Oladipo in Houston. And James Harden said, you know what? F this dynamic duo thing we have going on for ourselves. Let's create a super team. And guess what they did? James Harden demanded a trade to the Brooklyn Nets. The Houston Rockets felt indebted to James Harden. You did so much for our franchise over the past decade. And of course, as a classy organization would, they granted his request and traded James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets. At the time, I thought that was a really interesting move because I thought that the Brooklyn Nets were already a very dangerous team with the amount of depth they had, with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving as well. But they felt like, hey, maybe we should go a little bit more top heavy, add James Harden, and we'll play the buyout market to potentially fill up the other holes we have in our roster. And man, did they play this buyout market remarkably. Because check this out, we have some breaking news. Before we get to this breaking news, do me a favor and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help this channel grow. I have a huge announcement on my Instagram page coming out soon about a potential podcast I have with two other prospective YouTubers. You can leave guesses in the comment section down below, but I'm going to be announcing it on my Instagram page. And now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, let me tell you a pretty interesting and adorable piece of NBA lore. You see, there's a lot of history between the members of the Brooklyn Nets. As a matter of fact, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Kevin Durant, and Jeff Green all were once a very promising core at one time or another. Obviously, some of them left at a different time than others were on the team for the OKC Thunder, and they were seen as a very promising young core before the OKC Thunder decided to trade James Harden away for their own reasons. And sooner than later, all the pieces of the OKC Thunder began to fall apart, which is why I think it's adorable that the four reunited on the Brooklyn Nets. But that's not the only reunion that we potentially might get. You see, another individual on the Brooklyn Nets is a man by the name of DeAndre Jordan, who was once known as a very promising second-round pick made by the Los Angeles Clippers, who created probably one of the most exciting tandems in NBA history, and probably the last time that I remember two big men succeeding with each other when they created the Lob City Clippers that featured the likes of Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. And well, I'm sure DeAndre Jordan was kind of in Blake Griffin's ear about this, because for those of you guys that didn't know, 2 days ago, Blake Griffin officially agreed to a buyout with the Detroit Pistons. This comes on the heels of us, well, expecting it, because the Detroit Pistons said, we're first going to look for someone to accept Blake Griffin in a trade. But no one's going to accept Blake Griffin in a trade. He has such a disgustingly large contract, and he is by far one of the worst players in the NBA. Now, whether he's been doing that on purpose or not remains to be seen. But as a result of this, the Detroit Pistons said, okay, Blake Griffin sucks, he stinks, we're going to just buy him out and move forward. Yes, the trade we made with Blake Griffin was a huge bust. The Clippers clearly should hold the W because they did a remarkable job selling on Blake Griffin at his highest point, seeing what was going to become of his injured knee that has been hampering him throughout his entire career. It's a horrible thing to say, but they made the right business decision for themselves. Now, as time progressed forward, we started speculating, where would Blake Griffin go? Will he go back to Los Angeles? Maybe he'll join the Clippers again because they're an up-and-coming team and it'd be a cute little homecoming. But alas, I'm sure he's very upset with Steve Ballmer as a result of the way he was departed from the Los Angeles Clippers. You know, the fact that he was sold on being the greatest Clipper of all time and then eventually being traded 5 to 6 months later after he finally signed a huge max contract extension. So I thought, okay, it makes a lot of sense for him to go to the Lakers. The Lakers really need a power forward right now. Anthony Davis is out with a right Achilles strain. He'll be back in LA. No better way to get revenge on Steve Ballmer and the Clippers than joining the evil Los Angeles team across town. But alas, that's not what Blake Griffin decided, because according to Champs Piranha, we have an update on the Blake Griffin situation. Now, Blake Griffin has cleared free agency waivers, and the 6-time NBA All-Star is expected to sign with the Brooklyn Nets. Sources tell The Athletic and Stadium. Interested teams have expected Griffin to pursue a championship in Brooklyn alongside Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. Now, is this official? I'm assuming not. The scenario I'm imagining in my head, because Champs rarely says he's expected to sign with the team and rarely gets it wrong, is maybe a person close to Blake Griffin leaked out the fact that he wants to sign with the Nets. I'm sure there's mutual interest because, dude, you get a former All-Star and he's going to probably take the veteran minimum. Yeah, you're not getting the Blake Griffin that jumped over a Kia car for a slam dunk contest. Hell, you're not even getting the Blake Griffin in his first year with the Detroit Pistons, who seem to have been playing the greatest basketball of his career, but you are getting a player that at one point of his career was an extremely remarkable player to watch and actually had his game start to translate very well and grow very well with the new NBA. Unfortunately, that has all been hampered by the same knee injury that has been plaguing Blake Griffin since before he even came out of college. So, what do I think about this move? I honestly don't think it makes too much of a difference for the Brooklyn Nets. And I hope you guys don't hate me for saying this, because if you look at Blake Griffin's statistics so far this year, he has been horrible. Like, absolutely atrocious. So if there's a player that I'd compare Blake Griffin's impact to, it's very simple, because we've seen another player that pretty much did the same thing earlier this offseason. Do you guys remember Nicholas Batum? When he was on Charlotte, well, he didn't really perform so well during the final years of his career. As a matter of fact, he averaged, in his last regular normal season, he averaged 9 points per game. He shot a decent 45% from the field and 39% from three. This year, with the Los Angeles Clippers, he's doing more or less the same. Obviously, he's not one of the top options, but he's averaging 9 points per game, 5 rebounds, shooting 48% from the field, and a beautiful, remarkable 44% from three. And he's doing this all while attempting 4.4 threes per game. I could see a very similar situation for Blake Griffin, and it all really depends on his ability to convert from three. He has never been a good three-point shooter in his entire career. In his 2018 to 2019 season, he shot 36% from three while attempting 7 three-pointers per game. That was the best season he had as a member of the Detroit Pistons. So I don't really expect Blake Griffin to come out of nowhere and be this remarkable player for the Brooklyn Nets. I expect him to slowly work back from an injury, eventually become a very dependable part of the team because he's surrounded by good people that'll potentially boost him up, and hopefully he'll be able to turn his career around. But I don't perceive the Brooklyn Nets as this, oh my god, they have this super team of 4 former All-Stars and current All-Stars, because that is simply not the case. Blake Griffin is no longer the great All-Star that was jumping over Kia cars. He's still a pretty dependable player if he could potentially be put in the right situation to succeed. So only time will tell. For all you know, this could be a player that's riding a bench for the rest of his career. Hopefully not, though. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this potential signing. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.